Hi, I'm Brickster. I'm an Eternus 3 Deadlock player. I recently hit my rank goal of Eternus, and I want to share with you some of the tips and tricks I used to expedite my learning process for Deadlock. Also, this video is mostly from the perspective of solo queuing, because my friends don't play Deadlock with me that much. I have no idea why. Okay, on to the tips. Tip number 1, do not tilt. Losing is part of the process of learning and ranking up, but if you're pissed off and angry, all you're gonna do is make it take longer for you to do those things. There are literal proven studies that playing video games while angry makes you worse at playing them. I bet you're wondering, how do you avoid getting tilted? Well, one of the big things you can do is structure your games. What I mean by that is, before you start playing, tell yourself how much you actually want to play. For example, recently I've been doing a best out of 3 system where I'll set out to play 3 Deadlock games, and let's say I play 3 games total, I lose 1 game and win 2 games. If I'm still feeling it, I'll keep playing. But let's say I lose my first 2 games and I'm tilted out of my mind. I'll just stop playing. It may sound counterintuitive to stop playing to help you rank up, but fun fact, rage queuing 7 games on Drifter at 3 AM does not help you rank up. Okay, but let's say you're unemployed and you play Deadlock 24/7. What other things can you do to not tilt? Well, you can mute people. It may sound simple, but I see a lot of people just trying to tank the toxicity that's thrown at them when you can just mute people. The majority of the time, the people who are being assholes are the people who give little to no callouts or any form of useful communication. You have zero obligation to listen to them if they're annoying. Just mute them. Also, don't be the person people want to mute. If you're the one instigating and/or being toxic, you are going to lose more games. The average Deadlock player's mental state is made of glass, just waiting to be shattered. Don't be the person who shatters it. I have seen people throw games because they're pissed their lane mate was being an asshole. Overall, if you want to win, don't be toxic. Unless it's the enemy team. Rage baiting the enemy team isn't toxic, it's mental warfare. Tip number 2 is learn correctly. You could spam games over and over again until you rank up. It's gonna take a while though. But what can you do to learn faster? Well, there's tons of guides like the one you're watching right now that give you tips to help you improve. But other than just binging YouTube videos, you can search guides specific to the character you're trying to learn, or check out the character-specific Discord channels in the Deadlock Discord. You can look at replays of not only your own games, but also of high-level players on whatever character you're trying to learn. StatLocker has a really nice feature to find high-level players for specific characters if you're struggling to find them. I'd also say just trying new things in the sandbox and the Explore the Map modes can really help you out. The best way to learn new tech, rollouts, or fun little movement spots is just by seeing someone do it and then trying to practice doing it yourself. My final thing to say for this tip would just be, don't use aim trainers. I see a lot of people trying to use things like aim labs or Kovacs, but they have essentially no use for your Deadlock aim unless you play certain M1 carries or Vindicta. Deadlock doesn't really have flicks or any sort of aiming other than tracking, and even though aim trainers do have modes for tracking, every Deadlock gun is a projectile. So on a lot of characters at farther distances, you need to lead your shots slightly anyways. If you really want to get better at aiming, I would suggest going into the sandbox and practicing your aim on this guy. But for the vast majority of the characters, your aim really doesn't matter unless you're completely new to shooters. You really don't need good aim to rank up. For example, according to StatLocker, I have bottom 38% accuracy, but it doesn't matter because I can play a magician who shoots magic missiles, and then after enough stimulus checks from Yoshi, I'm in the highest rank division. Tip number 3 is read and understand power spikes. See these? These are your investment spikes. Read them. See the item shop? Yeah, there's 172 items. Read what they do. See your different AP upgrades on your abilities? Read them. Okay, let's say you've read all that stuff. Read every other hero's AP upgrades and abilities, even the ones you don't play.
Wow, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
Obviously, you don't need to read everything, but even if you're just following a build left to right, you really should be thinking why you buy a specific item or why you're putting points into an ability first. And you also should be thinking about this for your enemies. Understanding the power levels and use cases of items and abilities is how you win fights before they even start. For example, let's say you're fighting a haze. You're both even in souls, the enemy is more mechanically skilled than you by, let's say, 10%. You're not winning an even fight. However, before you even engage this fight, you took notice into the fact that she doesn't have tier 3 fixation yet, which is a pretty big power spike for her. You've also noticed she hasn't bought an item in a hot minute. Because you notice these things, you could win that fight before it even starts by simply being in a more powerful state than she is, which is something you wouldn't have been able to know if you didn't know that tier 3 fixation was a big spike. The inverse of this is also true. When the enemy hits a big spike and you're saving for yours, try to avoid fighting. The best way to win fights is to fight when you are more powerful than the enemy. And if you're wondering how you figure out that other than reading descriptions, it would just be to try a bunch of new heroes and items. If you're new to the game, I would recommend just trying a bunch of different heroes in Street Brawl or in the sandbox. And hey, I would recommend playing characters that frustrate you as well, because maybe you can understand that they're actually pretty hard to play and you need to pay attention to the spikes you get, or you'll discover they're really easy to play and totally bullshit, but hey, maybe you found a new main then. Tip 4 is communicate everything. So you know how earlier I was saying not to use your voice in text chat to be toxic? I bet you're wondering, what do you use it for then? Well, you use it to tell people what's going on, what you want to do, and erotic roleplay, but mostly those first two. Mostly those first two. Good comms can and will save games for you. In low elo, good comms can be something as simple as clicking on the enemy's portrait when they're missing to tell people they're missing. And in high elo, good comms can be clicking on the enemy's portrait to signal they're missing. Somebody explain to me why there is a holiday from the other lane tower diving me 3 minutes in. Oh, also, my Wraith's first item was Ricochet, and this was an Eternus 3 lobby, and we won. I bring this up to show that everyone, regardless of rank, forgets to communicate sometimes. Nobody is expecting you to communicate at a pro level. Does this mean you shouldn't communicate at all? No, obviously not. And even if you make a callout that's kinda stupid, a false positive is still better than saying nothing the majority of the time. I want to talk about the two major types of callouts you need to try to remember to do. The first type of callouts is what's going on callouts. These are as simple as pinging someone is missing or talking in voice chat to tell where certain people are. Because while yes, everyone can see every person the team can see on their minimap, it's a lot easier to multitask with your ears and eyes than just your eyes. You can't look at the minimap at the same time you're looking at the guy you're shooting, but you can look at the guy you're shooting while someone tells you about something on your minimap. Other examples of what's going on callouts can be telling your lane partner what you're doing. For example, you going for that bridge buff? Call it. Going for a box run? Call it. Leaving lane to go gank? Call it. Any callouts that can tell your teammates information that they otherwise would not have known are very useful. The second type of callouts are what you want your team to do callouts. These callouts you don't have to make as often as the first type, especially if you have competent teammates who are willing to be the ones to make these broader callouts. These types of callouts consist of stuff like when to go to mid-boss, when to run urn, when to jump someone. The scary thing about these callouts is sometimes you do a bad one. I think everyone has had the experience of accidentally donating the enemy the urn or calling to do mid and then losing the mid fight, but you can't let the anxiety of making bad calls stop you from making them at all. I remember watching one of Funk's Deadlock videos where he said that having a plan is better than no plan at all, and I wholeheartedly agree with this statement. It's better to make a plan and then fail than to do nothing and never capitalize on any opportunities. Also, making bad calls makes sure you'll make better calls in the future. I mean, the whole point of this video is how to improve, and how will you improve if not by making mistakes and learning from them? My point is, use your microphone. It may be scary, but if you want to get better at the game, communication is a big part of that. Tip 5 is Sometimes it may seem like you can never rank up. It may feel like the system is rigged and that big fat green dinosaur is out to get you, but I can assure you, it is possible to rank up. Sometimes, literally maintaining your rank will help you rank up in the future because, fun fact, Deadlock's rank tiers are percentage based and not fixed MMR thresholds you need to hit. What does this mean? Well, it means whenever there's a big update that brings in a lot of new players, the average skill shifts down, meaning people who are playing before the update will rank up a bit literally just from existing. And at the end of the day, the game is in alpha. There is no separate competitive queue. So the people in your games can range from people grinding the game all day and people who just got off work and are queuing a Deadlock game while they smoke weed. All this to say, in my opinion, if you want to have the most fun while still improving at Deadlock, don't worry about your rank. Try to come up with tangible goals of improvement other than just your rank number. It could be performing that cool rollout you learned in a real game, learning a new character, or just going positive. It doesn't really matter as long as you're having fun. As long as you're having fun and you're getting better at the game, you will eventually rank up. Yeah, that's really all I have for this video. I wanted to make this like a week earlier, but I didn't because I'm lazy. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.